When it comes to hosting parties, birthdays, brides, barbecues, best way to do it is to show off your talents and your delights on a charcuterie board. It's designed for meat, but you can also use it as a cheese board or a serving board. It's entirely up to you. But the best part about it is you get to make it yourself. I'm going to take you through all the steps and show you how easy it is for you to make yourself a charcuterie board just like this. As for the materials, all you need is one piece of timber. Now I'm using a piece of laminated Ligna, but what the most important thing to do is choose a board which has got character. Now what I mean by that is choose a board with knots, different colors, different grain structures, different patterns, because when you oil that up, you'll see it come to life. As for the tools we're going to be using, I've got a 20mm spade bit with a driver, a pencil, a jigsaw, a sander, and a selection of sanding pads ranging from a 60 grit all the way up to a 240. So the first thing we need to do is to mark out the shapes on our board. Now this is the part where you let your creative license run wild in choosing your shape. You don't have to go for a standard square board. You can if you want to, or you can mix it up with different shapes. Just roughly sketch on the board. Don't worry about not being perfectly straight. You want that rough, natural look. That's my board shape. Now I want to add on a handle. Okay, that's quite different. I'm happy with that. As you can see, I've got enough space, so I might as well do another little smaller one. Okay, so there you go. I've sketched out two completely random patterns. I'm now going to use my jigsaw and cut those patterns out. Okay, there's your two boards. That was so easy to do. We've cut it out of one piece, and now we need to drill a hole in the center. That's where we're going to use a 20mm spade bit. You can drill any size you want to. You can actually use a large hole, cut it out with a jigsaw, use a bigger bit. It's entirely up to you. Most important thing is when you're drilling through, always make sure you have something on the underside so you don't get that breakout on the underside. Alternatively, you can always turn the board over and then drill through from the other side halfway. Now you can see you've got your two boards complete. We've got this very sharp and perfectly square edge on the side here. I like to really round that off. Now there's a few ways you can do it. You can use a router. Alternatively, I'm just going to use my sander now to get a bit of an uneven edge all the way around. But I'm going to start off with quite a rough grit. Start off with a 60 grit. Now when you are sanding on work surfaces, I always find it handy to make use of some soft rubber matting. It just stops the boards from moving around as much, and also it protects that underside. Often when you're sanding around, because of those vibrations, you get a lot of damage on the underside. So handy hint, make use of some rubber matting. Now remember, I'm just using the coarse grit on the edges for the shaping, not on the top surface. That we're probably going to start off with an 80 or a 120. Don't go with the 60, that's far too rough for that surface. There you go, that's the first side done. And what a difference you can see between those two. That sharp edge there to this natural rounded edge. It's uneven, it's natural, it looks good. It's got that farmhouse kind of feel. Okay, that's that edge rounded off. We've shaped it all the way around, and you'll notice it's very rough. We've used a very rough grit sandpaper. So what we're going to do now is start moving up through the grits and sanding the whole board and the edges. We're basically going to get all the way through to you actually polishing it till you get a smooth, flush finish. What I'm going to do first is just round that whole edge. Use the old pad. Here's a handy hint, just roll it. And you've got a tool in one. Very easy. Just to clean up that sharp edge of the handle hole. Right, let's start with the 80 grit, 120, 180, and 240. One thing I love about these orbital sanders is they can be super aggressive, remove a lot of material in one go, or you can tone it down and really use it for polishing and delicate work. They're really fantastic sanders. Right, onto the 180. Now as you go through each sanding grit paper down to a finer grit, you'll feel that board is getting smoother and smoother, and that's what you really want. You want that kind of glass finish. It is entirely up to you, but you can't stop doing this. Once you start feeling that timber, you can feel the life coming out of that wood. It's fantastic. Okay, I've got down to my final surface there. I went to a 240 grit. You can go a lot more. I'm happy with that. But before I leave it like that, what I like to do is just take some water, wet a rag, and then you run a wet rag over your board, just like that, okay? It's more than enough. Do both sides and the edge. Now what that does, is that water absorbs into the fibers and it raises the fibers slightly. So once it's dry, it's going to raise those fibers, and then I'm going to give it another sand down with that final 240 grit, and it's going to give me a much smoother surface, especially when I apply my oil later on down the line. Now remember, if you're going to be using fresh timber like we are here, you need at least 3 to 4 coats of the cutting oil. Spread it over 3 or 4 days. I did this one yesterday, and straight away you can see day by day it gets darker and darker and darker. This is much darker than this. It's the same timber. If you're using stuff like olive oil or sunflower oil, it is going to go rancid eventually on the board, so you've got to use a mineral-based food grade oil. Let's start with the first one. This is the best part. Some people like to use some gloves. Good old-fashioned bare hands, really work it into the timber and really penetrate that grain, and it really starts bringing out those beautiful, beautiful colors. Right, that's all the charcuterie boards, cheese boards, serving boards, whatever you want to call it. They're all complete, they're oiled up, and what an awesome look it is. Remember what we started off with. A plain old piece of laminated Sligna. We cut some random crazy shapes into the board and oiled it up after a good sanding down, and that's the end result. Something definitely that you can be proud of that you've made yourself to serve up to your friends and family at a braai or a party. What an awesome treat it is. And the most important thing is to put it to good use. Get it loaded up with some amazing treats and be proud when you serve it to your guests. If you enjoyed this clip or found it useful, like it, share it. You can also subscribe to the Builders Fan YouTube channel. There's a range of product reviews and DIYs just like this for you to be inspired, get to Builders, and get it done.